Because I'm not going to pay much attention. I'm not much of a public speaker. Just wanted to introduce the KM is sponsoring this activity. My interaction with the KM, the KM's interaction with the OU in terms of the medicine/vitamins. There's one company which I go into for both Kosher Miami and at this point also for the OU. That produces vitamins. If you buy a small pill, a vitamin, the number of ingredients that go into that is sometimes pages and pages long. When I go into the factory, I'm looking at pallets of ingredients just for one pill, and I'm taking apart the pallet, looking at the hashgacha on each one of the things. They're coming from all over the world. My knowledge, it comes in as a powder, it ends up as a pill. I have no idea what goes into making these powders, except that some of them I know are innocuous and therefore don't require hashgacha, and some of them they're produced in all kinds of fascinating ways, which I don't know a huge amount about. The OU has people all over the world who are mumchim in this topic, who know how these things are produced, who know which ingredients are used, and therefore there's a tremendous amount of knowledge we can gain by having them come and present to us.
Thank you, Rabbi Shafrin. Those words of introduction. My name is Rabbi Elif. I'm the Managing Director of Community Relations for OU Kosher. It's our pleasure to be able to join the North Miami Beach Kehillah today. We've already had a chance to meet some of the community. We had the zchus of speaking in Beis Yaakov this afternoon. And all I can say is that we've been very impressed by the welcome of the Kehillah and the level of ernstkeit, near Shemayim, and dedication to Yiddishkeit that we see permeating the streets. Just posting the Chayr Achsanya, we'd like to thank Rosh Karlim, Rabbi Blyer, Rabbi Singer for facilitating tonight's event, to Ritzi Ullman for dealing with me in the back and forth, making sure that everything works without a hitch. And we hope that the Olam will enjoy tonight's presentation. Chazal tell us that 30 days before Yontif, we have the obligation to discuss, to learn the halachas of the Yontif. For some reason, when it comes to the actual Chag, Sukkos, you don't find too many people that are busy with that. As a matter of fact, when the kids come home from school, they don't even know what Sukkos is, because by the time they're done with Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, there wasn't any time for Sukkos. But comes Pesach time, everybody knows that the minute Purim is over, it's Pesach time. You go to the kosher supermarkets, they definitely let you know that it's Pesach time, because you can't find anything left on the shelf that's chametz. And then when you want the things that are not chametz, it's no longer on the shelf either. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. One of the things that's important, and we get a lot of questions at the OU, is what's the story with medications and nutritionals? And it's my pleasure tonight to be accompanied with my dear Chaver, Mordechai Stareshevsky, who's one of our mumchin, a rabbinic coordinator who deals specifically with nutritionals, vitamins, medications, among other types of mixais, of other types of industries. And he's going to discuss, I'm not going to take his thunder, he's going to discuss all the various variables that are involved, all different permutations. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. One of my roles is that I oversee our community relations. We have a full-time Rav who does nothing but answers the hotline, our hotline, another full-time Rav who answers emails. And we're busy on a regular day. Just to give you an example, a regular day we have about 150 phone calls and about another 100 emails that come in on a regular day throughout the year. Shleishim Yom Kayim Chag, we have about 200 to 300 phone calls a day, another 150 to 200 emails a day. Next week, I'm forbidden from going any place except to make sure that things run. We average 600 to 1,000 phone calls a day, and between 400 and 500 emails a day. Klal Yisrael reaches out. Baruch Hashem, everyone asks Shilas, they want to know what the story is, they reach out with their questions, and we try to help as much as possible. So, we're here tonight to be able to answer your questions, to be involved with the community. We'll be at some of the other schools tomorrow to discuss some of these topics as well. We'll be around after the presentation. Hopefully we'll have a chance at the end of the presentation right before Marv to take questions as well. But it's my pleasure to introduce Mordechai Stareshevsky, Choshev Talmud Chacham, to discuss the different pratim of the Kashrus in general and specifically for Pesach of medicines, vitamins, and nutritionals.
take issue with Rabbi Elef's description of me as a Chashva Talmud Chacham. I'm not even a Talmud Chacham, forget about a Chashva Talmud Chacham, but at least I could talk about a little bit this topic. Is back in my parents' generation, talk about the 1950s when they were children, you went to the store, if you picked up a label, if it didn't say lard, it didn't say gelatin, you figured, what could be wrong with it already? Polysorbate 80 and monodiglycerides sound too complicated to be a problem. It's probably just, chemicals which aren't a problem anyway. So as the kosher consumer has become much more sophisticated and much more understanding of potential issues, that has put a demand on the OU to be responsive to that. Baruch Hashem, the OU has grown together with that. And really the consumer understands today that you just don't buy something without a hechsher. It has a hechsher, you buy it. Doesn't have a hechsher, you don't buy it. Instead of making each consumer into his own Pesach and his own yadin, and what happens? It has a hechsher. It has a hechsher which you trust, you buy it. Pesach, the same thing. Pesach, it has a hechsher, has OUP, you buy it. I'll show you. Without that, okay, you look for something. You look for something with, you have to try to find something with the Pesach Hashgacha. The Maisa, the OU, besides for all the thousands of products that have the OUP, we are very cognizant of the fact that not every customer, not every client, every company is interested in the OUP. They didn't get the memo you're supposed to have the OUP, and therefore the OU as a service we review all of our products, and we see which products are eligible. There can't be anything wrong in terms of the plant, in terms of what's made, the ingredients, and of course the equipment, the shared lines potentially, and it's easier said than done. I had somebody else, a different hashgacha, reach out to me. He wanted to know about a lemon product. Very simple, lemon zest and flavors. He said, you're in Kashrus, you should know better than that. Flavors it's a whole host of things, right? It's anything including the kitchen sink. A strawberry flavor can have 100 ingredients in it, including all the subunits. Some flavors even have more than 100 ingredients. So flavors have alcohols, have all kinds of hashid and chametz. Am I going to say it's not bottle? I don't know. Maybe it's not a vidla time, but you want a letter from me it's kosher to Pesach? Of course not. So the consumer understands that. And we, of course, reach out and we give, if it's a simple product, Costco frozen strawberries with the OU. Just take one example. There's no other ingredients on there. It's perfectly kosher to Pesach. But there's one set of products which are our hardest and at once our most simple, the easiest to list as being acceptable for Pesach. And that's, of course, medicines and nutritionals. They are often the most complicated products, as was depicted before, but at the same time, it's a tzorich, not shaykh what the tzorich is. A baby formula. A child can't live 8 days without a baby formula. People have Ensure, Lucerna, people have various other nutritionals. It's not shaykh. Why do they have to be able to eat it? We spend, Rabbi Elef said a little bit, we spend a lot of behind the scenes. Pesach and the OU is over. Pesach, we still have to answer a few questions. The productions took place a long time ago. The behind the scenes work at getting to make, and we constantly review it to make sure that these particular ingredients that go into these nutritionals are acceptable for Pesach. And we say acceptable. We don't say they might be chametz, but they're bottle and different issues, and we'll discuss them in a second. That's as far as nutritionals. Pharmaceuticals, medicines, pills. Let's discuss a little bit of the background. The Gemara says, Nachmem Hey, Psachim, Pas She'ifsha is Chayiv Levayer. Why is it Chayiv Levayer? Why is it Chayiv Levayer? Because you can break it up. You can use it. I know that here in South Florida, you're probably impervious to all the trends that sweep the trendy north. But sourdough. You can use this as a sourdough starter for Isas HaCheres. So because of that, it's Chayiv Levayer. Effect around why? It's not Roy Lachilas Adam, it's bitter. And if you tell me, you have to be Roy Lachilas Kelev, why effect around? Nice and Tam of Gam is Muta on Pesach. And that's Shita Saran. It's Machlokes Rashba and Ran. Mechaber and Tov Mem Zayin, Paskins like the Ran, they're molds like the Rashba. We'll get to that. I hope to get to that still at the end. We'll leave it for now. But effect the Ran, Neisen Tam of Gam is Mutter on Pesach. And for the Ran, because it's Roy Lechamei B'Shas HaCheres. What does that mean? Zotas Vasemes, the Chedushim Al Hashas, Psachim. Semes says that because there's two nekudas always you have to remember when it comes to Pesach. There's the Issa Achila, and then there's by Yerah by Yemotzei. So even if Ein Yerah Achilas Adam allows you to eat it on Pesach, you can't keep it in your house. By Yerah by Yemotzei. Says the Gemara, it's Roy Lechamei B'Isas HaCheres, that gives it a chashivas. It gives it a chashivas. Also by Yerah by Yemotzei, even though it says the Ran Be'etzem Mishni Mutter Ba'Achila. But Paskin Shulchan Aruch, that pas she'ifsha, until it's not Roy L'Achilas Kelev, is Mutter in Gansin. Mutter in Gansin, you can keep it in your house on Pesach. And the more gives an example, Sa'or She'yachtali Yeshiva. You take a yeast, and you miyachid it. You say, it's no longer chametz. I make it into a chair. I sit on this Sa'or. It's not a food. It's not enough, says the Gemara. You have to be tachei sebatit. You have to spread lime over it. And the Mishnah Berurah says from all four sides, because if you don't do all four sides, you're not mevatel it from the oichel. Good. But it's a shame bottle. It's a shame bottle. The Gemara says the mar. If you mix in a bitter substance into a product, it's not something which is rela achila anymore. But of course, you can unbe ma'ar of the davar mar, and then it becomes usher again. Says the Chazon Ish, there are some cases, there are some things that you can't be unma'ar of it. It's so much a part of it. And of course, medicines is that, take a pill, it's bitter. It's impossible to be ois, to take away the davar mar from it. Just to make one more point, very famous machlokes Shagas Aryeh and other places, Ksaf Sofer, one of them, the Shagas Aryeh talks about on Yom Kippur, talks about achshavei. Achshavei for an oichel. I hope to get back to achshavei in the same stickle as Nathan Tam of Gam, the Simani Moshe, okay? So achshavei la'achil is Dr. Shagas Aryeh. You take something for an oichel, even though it's not be'etzem an oichel, but you machshav it for an oichel, severt an oichel. So Shagas Aryeh handles with macholim, kippur. Ksaf Sofer says medicines are not one of them. Shagas Aryeh is mashma medicines also. It's not. You don't say achshavei on medicines. Taking medicine for a food. I take it for food. In this, even the Shagas Aryeh is moida. It's not really achilas kelev. If somebody eats a table, it's achshavei for an oichel? Of course not. It's nishkan oichel. Therefore, OU policy is, Belsky was very, very strong about this, is that if you have a medicine that you take for blood pressure, anything to do with your heart, anything, diabetes, any life-threatening medical condition, the Soter Lakewood Poskim came out with a long settle of different ailments which are potentially life-threatening, things you wouldn't have thought of maybe as your first thought, but all these things are potentially life-threatening. Take the pill and don't ask any shilas. This is just to illustrate the point. A few years ago, there was a publication that listed a medicine called tacrolimus. Have you ever heard of tacrolimus before? Tacrolimus is an immunosuppressant. It's taken for anti-rejection. Somebody has an organ transplant, heart, lung, kidney, liver, and he has to take this anti-rejection drug that the body shouldn't reject it. Once rejection starts, chalila, it can't be reversed. A certain publication, don't know who, didn't want to know, they wrote that this tacrolimus has chametz in it. Achman al-Islam. The achraya is to say such a thing. Kaponim, OU policy of many poskim is to take the pill and don't ask any questions. Okay, that's as far as medicines. Even if the chametz gone, it's not really achilas kelev mutter in ganzen. As far as chewables, as far as liquids that have medicine, that have flavor, it's a big shaila. It's very much not poshet because it's roy la'achila now. This is something which is roy la'achila. It could be it's not bottled. It could be have ingredients in there which are mamish chametz. It's what to handle about that. That's better left for everybody and their rov to speak about specifically. I just want to take you through what we call the sugya of nutritionals. So, to I mentioned before, baby formula, Ensure, v'chulei. There's Ensure is something which they say you have 4 bottles a day, keep you alive. It has all the nutrients in there which you need. You don't need anything else. Rabbi Elephant, our COO, was one time by Shach, and he told him, Shach, he works for the OU. Shach was all excited. He told his Enikul, bring the mashka. He brought a bottle of Ensure. Yes, Chol Stam, Rabbi Shach drank the Ensure, and he showed it to him. That's what he lives on. I don't want to give away any secrets, but the Satmar Rebbe, the Sigita, Moshe, the Bayach Moshe, the Seif Yomov, the doctor said you have to take Ensure. Couldn't eat anything else. Ensure is a particular, well-designed, nutritional. It's thick enough and has the right taste, etc. So the Bayach Moshe himself was a posek all the years. He passed it for hundreds of people. It's mutter to take it, even though it's Chol Stam. I don't know if they subscribe to the word Chol Stam, but even though it's Chol Stam, you can take it. Maaseh came to himself. He didn't want to pass it, even though the doctor said it. He said, "Bring a moyoro." So he brought a moyoro, and the Bayach Moshe told him, "Doctor says I have to take it," and he said to take it, and he took one out and he drank it. So, upon him, you can drink 4 Ensures a day. So, Ma'av Zayda, also Moshe David's father's Rebbe, and Mendel Kravitz, Yosef, Rashiva of Yankov Yosef, a big guy. He was the Talmud of Reb Aaron. He was with Reb Aaron the entire Tkufa in Kletsk. So he would say over about his, Reb Aaron would say over about his Seder every year, that Rosh Ha'avodah Azois Lachem. The Rosh is saying, what's that for the ganze Avodah? Whole, do the mitzvah, that's it. Don't get so excited about it. The ganze Avodah, was macht er? The ganze Tayran wegen a mitzvah. You have to do the mitzvah, mask. Do the mitzvah and shine. Pat is a chub. Don't interfere with your life too much. So you can take Ensure, you can take Nutritionals, little pills that have all the nutrients that you need to stay alive. What's that for ganze Suda? You don't need teeth. As the Baron's dentist would say this. The Baron would say it over every year, better say that. The Baron had enough in the word. So upon him, if you're the type of person that eats Ensure because of that, why bother? You can't bother with eating too much. Pesach, this discussion is not for you. It's only for a chayla that eats Ensure. There's 5 components to a nutritional, 4 components to a baby formula. A baby formula has fats, has oils, as fats and oils to go together, proteins, carbohydrates, and minerals. Ensure is moisa flavayda echad as flavor. Baby formulas don't have flavor. Let's handle each one of these and see where. Let's take you through the cheshbonis, our pre-Pesach, and again, it's not for a pre-Pesach meeting. It's the whole year. This is what we handle with, and the arichos to keep up our knowledge of these issues is the sugars, carbohydrates. You have lactose. By the way, anything ending in an OSE is a sugar. Lactose, fructose, sucrose. Lactose is, of course, the sugar in the milk. So the lactose in a baby formula. The whey is a protein, of course. So let's take it through a little bit. The Chassam Sofer says that even though, and this is the standard policy of the OU, that even though Avada for Gevinas Yisrael, you don't have the heter, there's no Gevinas stam, right? You have for Gevinas Yisrael, the Shach says you have to put the Mashiach has to put the Yid has to put the rennet or the cultures inside the vat, the cheese making vat, to start off the cheese. The mokum, you can make under Amah, it should be there, but you have to be there. There's no excuse, there's no shortcuts. In a place that does not, and Rabbi Elif, by the way, is a tremendous expert on cheese manufacturing. Our biggest cheese clients look at Rabbi Elif. If you think that running a team of 100 mashgichim in 50 different plants, different shifts is easy, and speak to Rabbi Elif. So, how about cheese companies that don't make kosher cheese? The cheese is also, but the whey is just in this yuva de chalva. Milk is only 12.4% solids. That means 86%, a little less, is whey, this yuva de chalva. The whey is very valuable. I'm sure everybody has in their pantry a big bottle of whey when you decided to go on this diet to have whey. It becomes and of course it stays in the pantry. I said a cheese plant, they were telling this to me. Every one of us has that thing. You keep in the back of your pantry for next time. So, It's like when your sukkah is out of style, you keep it there for next time it goes in style. So, upon him. So the way is a lot. The OU gives hashgacha on hundreds of plants that the cheese is treif, but the way is perfectly fine as long as we monitor the temperatures. It can be cooked together and kamokum laharach. What about if you put chametz? What about if the cultures are chametz? What's the way? Anybody wants to hazard a guess? Is the way chametz? The cultures are maimed. The same reason why whey is mutter is because the whey is maimed, because the cultures are maimed the cheese. It's not maimed the whey. That's why whey is mutter. It's not gevina. It's not part of gevina. Is what if the cultures are chametz? What if the cultures have nevela? What if you actually maimed? The Gemara says the ma'am gevina sakim is lasura. Shamidin lo said ba'okevis nevela. It says your Moshe for the last 100 years the okevis nevela, which was even when they used the okevis nevela. It was okay, which is not real achila. So it's mutter. I mean, avada it's not mutter because loy plug. Avada it's asa. But be'etzem it's shei mutter without the loy plug because it's not. There's no midnight so okay with nevel. But an emotion on the for pashtos that the ingredients that go in don't affect the whey, don't affect the lactose. So again, in your whey and your lactose, there may be chametz in those cultures.
So this is the parts of the cheese that don't turn to cheese; they stay liquid.
The part of the milk which doesn't turn to cheese, yeah, stays liquid.
So that's not. There's no maimon in that because it doesn't become cheese.
Correct. Now that way, the snuv the chalva is called blush chazal. By the way, Pesach in your day state that's the raisa and the toises. I'm sorry. Yeah. Always says in the chol the shal the raisa the abanon. Toises Pesach says that's in the raisa. When you fractionalize that way, you break it apart. Fractionalize. You ever heard it? When you fractionalize the whey, you end up with lactose, spinning a centrifuge process. It spins around the high velocity. I won't get into that. It goes to the lactose gets separated. You're left with his whey permeate. B'losha chazal, Lashon Shulchan Aruch is mei cholav. It's still cholav, but jabanon, cholav jabanon. The whey permeate is a akaponim. What are you saying? Mei cholav. Akaponim is a jabanon, not is the raisa. But akaponim, that is not something which is. We don't recommend it. The whole Rabbi Elif is in charge of the list for Pesach. We tell people we don't recommend whey. We don't recommend whey. Chametz cultures and the cheese. We don't recommend it. But for nutritionals, we're soymach on this Moshe that it's beseder. The other thing is we'll discuss. So we discussed the carbohydrates. Maltodextrin. It's a dextrose is an ingredient. It's a grain derivative. Os is sugar, carbohydrate. So it's maltodextrin is something which is made from grain. It can be corn, it can be wheat. In America, because of the price structures, there's abundance of corn, not such an abundance of wheat. Wheat's much more expensive. Wheat is only used for bread. Any of these other ingredients, glucose syrup, maltodextrin, these things which are very common, are going to be corn, going to be kidneys. In Europe, where the price structures are different, there's not such an abundance of corn. It's really either. It's a 50-50 chance. They can use, depends which day, which side of the bed they woke up on. They can use corn, they can use wheat. Very negeya, it's very scary also because you can't rely on the fact that wheat's an allergen. Because the glucose syrup, for all those you want to know, I forgot which siman and sif it is in the EU laws, but there's a permanent exemption for glucose syrup from wheat that does not have to be labeled as an allergen. And that's because the allergen in wheat is the gluten, which is separated upstream. It shouldn't get too sticky. And they separated before. Akaponim, you're left with glucose syrup, which is not an allergen, even though it comes from wheat. So you can very well have a product, glucose syrup, and that's actually chametz gomer. Europe is a separate story. We're talking about American formulas now, American nutritionals, and that is I'm not saying that the ones in Europe are a problem. There's other things we have to other ways we have to control that. The maltodextrins, and that dextrose is from corn, is azoi. Minerals. We'll take one mineral, for example. Minerals are very important for baby's growth. One of the minerals is vitamin C. Vitamin C is ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid comes from sorbitol. Anything ending in OL, Moshe David?
It's a sugar.
Alcohol. OSE is a sugar. It comes from a sugar. It's fermented. For a fermented sugar is an alcohol. Right? Basic chemistry. Not that I. We shouldn't think that. It's all just made. I was the year that they stole the regions. That we did the chemistry region. We didn't have a chemistry region that year. But so I didn't stay. I wasn't involved. Anything in OL is an alcohol. Sorbitol, ethanol, alcohol. So it's a fermented sugar. Sorbitol can come from any carbohydrate source. If it's in America, it's going to be from corn. Europe, we said, wheat or corn, 50-50. From China, it might be tapioca. It can be any starch which you make into that. It's very hard, close to impossible, to track the global supply chain. The global supply chain is humongous. You eat a cookie, you go to the store and you get your Reisman's cookie. You have palm oil in there. It's coming from Indonesia or Malaysia or the Philippines. It can come from anywhere. Sorbitol is something which we call a group. It's not mamish a group 1, but curved to a group 1. Because with group 1, the Russian Kashrus is inherently kosher. It's very much not a group 1 for Pesach, of course not. But it doesn't make a difference Kashrus-wise if it comes from wheat or if it comes from corn. It's nachatz mutter the whole year round. So we don't keep track of it. So and to institute that entire supply chain just for Pesach is impossible. So vitamin C, what's else everybody say? Can you matter it or not? Well, of course it's bottle. It's parts per million. Is it so partial it's bottle? What's that? You want it. It's not action, not a thing of action, it's picking a Michael. So let's take a little detour. Lactate. Lactate is a milk for all those who are allergic to lactose intolerant. The way that you make it is a milk is a disaccharide. It's a fancy way of saying there's 2 sugars. There's glucose and lactose. So the lactinase, by the way, anything ending in ASE is an enzyme. So lactinase breaks down the lactose in the milk. There's a few ways to do it. One way to do it is to put the enzyme into the milk. You actually put the pill into the milk to break down the lactose. Another way to do it is to use it immobilized, and you have to get rid of it. You have to filter it out. Either you cook it at a very high temperature to kill the enzyme, or you have to filter it, ultrafiltration, either or. Another way to do it is an immobilized enzyme. You put the enzyme in a filter and you pour the milk through it. That also breaks down the lactose. That doesn't need, but that's not the common way to do it. So, lactinase is grown on koji cultures. There are only 2 companies in the world that do it. To our knowledge, one is in Japan, one is elsewhere. To our knowledge, it's close to a vade chametz, the enzyme. Because it's grown on koji. Koji cultures, koji is a type of enzyme from Japan, and koji is grown on wheat. The enzyme, so I can't say it's vade chametz. We're machmer to say enzymes grown on chametz have a din of chametz, very much en kamakum laharich, big sugya, mushrooms and whatever, en kamakum laharich. But I mean, I have time. But Ma'ariv is 10 o'clock. I heard. So so Rabbi Belsky said like this: chewable to carry the lactose, have the pill, and just take it as a pill. If that's the way you take the lactinase in a pill, which is not edible, not chewable, is mutter. Even though it's chametz, same thing as any other medicine. It's not really chilus kelef. A chewable shouldn't take on Pesach. To put in the milk on Pesach also you shouldn't do. But how about before Pesach? What's the shaila? Is that called the ma'ariv something lechatchila? The Mishnah Berurah brings down from the Mishnah Berurah brings down the famous Rashba and Shuvas Rashba, but the Mishnah Berurah brings down and Tov Mem Zayin Sifkat Nir Aleph for Ben Yeruchim that anything which is ma'ariv l'sakenes hamaychel is not bottle. That's why you can't always assume, well, I know it's bottle. It's not pasha, it's bottle. B'chal not pasha. Anything which is put in the chatchila and kidua, the Yehuda brings down the Rashba, the Mishnah Berurah brings down the Rashba, brings down the halacha. Anything will saken as hamaychel. Maimed. No, I'm saying, no, that's gemaimed. No, it's anything it's a svara. Anything which is able to sack in a sameichel, it's possible it's the same lumnus as avilah taima. I'm saying even not avilah taima. Anything avilah taima is nicker. Could be that the kimin and yesh kamokum laharach on this. It's really if you for Shabbos Hagadol Joshua. The sack in a sameichel is the pshat that it's not. You could say, and the time it's a very good svara. It's not lost. The same way avilah taima is, you can't say it's lost, right? The whole word of avilah, the whole word of nois and tam, echad b'shishim, we never know if it's bought is because it's not never, it's there. So the sense of avilah taima is the same thing, it's there. So sakana sameichel, it's there to sakana meichel. Yesh lodin if that's mamish the same story. Like upon the sakana sameichel is not bottle. Mr. Brewer, these filch is Pesach. Mr. Brewer Paskins. Is this called the sakana sameichel? Take out the lactose. Is that called the sakana sameichel? To break it down, it should, whatever. But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a. It shouldn't be a problem in the food. L'chayr it's not. L'chayr it's not a sakana sameichel. Right? Those can for pashtos. Or you place Rabbi Shechta. It's not a sakana sameichel. The sakana sameichel is to add something to the meichel, to put something in to enhance the flavor, enhance the meichel. It's not enhancing it. This thing is not enhancing it. It's taking something out that it shouldn't be a problem for those people that are allergic to it. It's not a sakana sameichel. It's very hard to hear. It's not. No, but this thing I'm putting in is not misakin it. It causes a chemical reaction to remove something from it. It's breaking something down. It's not. It's not changing something in the meichel. But the sakana sameichel, the lotion of I'm doing something. I'm adding something to the meichel. I'm adding something for the purpose of sakana sameichel. The fact that I'm misakin it medicinally, the fact that it breaks down the sugar, it's very hard to hear. It's a sakana sameichel. So that was our detour through lactase. You should take it avada. You should put in your pill before Pesach. So the government requires you to put in vitamin C into this baby formula. It doesn't taste any different. It doesn't taste any different when you put it in. You don't put it in. It's all the same. There's a case in Eretz Yisrael, by the way. 15 years ago, it was a German baby formula company. They weren't putting in the proper minerals, and there was severe damage. A lot of babies didn't grow, had delays, and had issues based on that. So I'm not making light of these minerals. They're very important. But is that something which is both a sakana sameichel? It's something which happened. The government wants the baby to get vitamin C, so they told you to park it over there.
It's like iodine in the salt.
Yeah, basically, yeah, and rich flour and all these things. They need a place to park it, so they park it over there. But it's lav dafka. That's called very much lav dafka. It's called the sakana sameichel. Good. Sakapanum, we covered the protein, the carbohydrates, at least in America, and the minerals. That it's not an issue. Oils, it's very hard to hear. If anyone knows of a chamer stick of oil, please let me know. There's other kashrus issues with oils, but once you know it's a soybean oil, it's whatever, it's no again, kidneys, even that's the shiloh, but kidney stick oils. Flavors, Rabbi say, what's with flavors? So that covers baby formulas. What about flavors? Flavors are a big sugya because you can have flavors like fusel oil. Fusel oil is a reaction. So I don't know exactly how it works, but this fusel alcohol oil, it can come from wheat, and it gives tam. It gives tam. If you have a chametz gazach which is giving tam potentially in nutritional, be it a ensure, be it a liquid Tylenol, be it anything, you can have fusel oil in the formula for the flavors, and it gives off a tam. Now let's just mention flavors for a second. Flavors, would like to talk about the 3 C's in flavors. Civet, castoreum, and colors is carmine. The civet is a cat. That the civet, there's things that Taitsoy said the civet, yeah, that's a big interesting coffee. There's a coffee to make out of it, the most expensive coffee in the world for those Mishagum. But civet is used as flavor enhancer in vanilla ice cream and different things. Castoreum comes from a beaver, used also in flavors, a flavor enhancer, and besides for the castoreum and the civet, that's as flavors, you have carmine. Carmine is there's a red color, which is but discovered to be a carcinogen, cause cancer. So because of that, a lot of companies switch to carmine. Carmine is actually a 4th C. Because the carmine comes from the cochineal beetle. Again, Yisurim Mamish, Yisurim Deyaisa, Yitzim and Asa, all three. So, Karma comes to the cochineal, C-O-C-H something, I-N-E-A-L, cochineal. So, the cochineal Bila Avada is Asa. So, these things are Chazusa, Sugin, Simon Kuf Beis, big Arichas, Begodim, big Yishmak Arichas about Chazusa, if colors are bottle. What's that? Castoreum and no, it's not as a flavor per se. It's a color. The kosher companies, of course, use red 40 or something else, some other chemical to turn to dye it. Akoponim v'oifen, flavors are not pashit. Flavors are very much not pashit because even if you say that they're going to be bottled, flavors are always going to be bottled in the product, but it's a vidla taima, vidla taima. It's a jabonon. But Tavid L'Taima, Jabonon. I think over here we keep Jabonons also. Jabonons. So, what you have fusel oil. Fusel oil could be mamish chametz goma. But let me clear in the sugi of zev is goyim. A few different sugis which play a role over here.
Why is it only used Tavid
L'Taima? It's bottom. It's bottle. Everything is. Yeah, much less than shishim. Yeah, it's like flavors like parts per million, maybe per thousand for sure. Yeah, it's a bit timeless. Again, it. I'm not saying it's not Vada's not bottled, but it's abonim. I'm just going to speak out. Akoponim, the fusel is not the only thing which gives flavor. It's a suffix if it's chametz or not. Could be come from corn, could be from wheat, and it's not the only thing which gives flavor. Something else gives flavor. So you have zev zeh goyim on a suffix de abonon is the. It's not Efshel Azara because flavor companies keep these things very much to themselves. Could be the flavor company doesn't even know. Like we said with the sorbitol, with the vitamin C. They don't know. You can't chase it. It's mamish. It's a global supply chain. Not always do they know, and not always what they tell you. And could be they don't even keep good records. They keep records at some plant in France. I'll just talk about for a second. They say about having a suffix, right? I mentioned about polysorbate. Polysorbate 80. It's an emulsifier. So you know what they teach you in Cheder that water and oil doesn't mix, and the Yidden are that's avada always true, but except by an emulsifier. You have an emulsifier that keeps the water and the oils together. And so you tell your children they have to use soap because water is an oil. Perspiration is oil. It doesn't mix. The only way to break down the oils is the soap. Soap in that case is the emulsifier. Everything has to have an emulsifier to break down oils to get the water to have an effect on the oils. So polysorbate is one of those things. Maisa Shahoya, there was a company that made an entire Pesach run, OUP, and they overlooked something. There was a mislabel, and they discovered it afterwards. The polysorbate which they used was not kosher Pesach. Even if it's not chametz, but it's going to be kidneys. So you have a real problem. It's talking about the global supply chain. They went with a company in France. We got from another company. It was different hechsher was involved, and we tracked it down. It ended up being there was a 1.5% chance that this sorbitol, that this polysorbate, by the way, is fat and the sorbitol together. Sorbitol, like we said, it comes from an alcohol, it comes from a sugar, and poly, of course, is the fat. We're not going to get into that. So it was a 1.5% chance. This company has one small plant that makes sorbitol out of potatoes, and that was that. So they were able to save their Pesach or to keep the OUP, or else they would have to take it off the shelf. So that's what keeps us busy with these things. So we wasn't holding before in Shul. So fusel oil, you have the medicine you have it's zev goyim on a safed rabbanon that we could be making on again.
Every flavor is a zev goyim. How can you say zev goyim? There's always another flavor.
It's a big arichos. What zev goyim is. Can you say zev goyim, for example, on let's say you have one thing doing one thing, another thing doing a totally separate thing. So can you say it's not a maimed because the other thing is also a maimed? So you have two maimids. Why is it called zev zeh? It's called zev zeh goyim. Zev zeh goyim is when two things are doing the exact same thing.
If you don't have this thing.
It's exactly the point. So let's say you have, for example, just throw out a random case, you have these cell-based meats. That the meat You have, without going into the Arichas, it's too much of an Arichas. But you have two things doing. You have the serum and you have the cells. So can you say that's not? Can you say that's called Zev Zagoyim? Very much not. Reb Chaim Oizer, Minchas Baruch is now from Chaim Oizer. You can't say Zev Zagoyim, and that is two separate hamadas. Zev Zagoyim is when two things are doing the exact same thing. I know it's a sugya in Chala. It's a different share. It's not for now. Over here, the fusel oil and the other thing are giving the exact same flavor. That's not so benimsa, and that would be Zev Zagoyim. We'll speak afterwards. So that would be Zev Zagoyim, and that will be mutter. So as far as the flavors are concerned, now Boisai, we've covered the various nekudas, why we matter in nutritionals and formulas. I just want to speak out a few nekudas. HMOs are human milk oligosaccharides. The scientists found the chachma from the Eibishter's Bria is not shaykh. There are 200 different sugars in the mother's milk, which causes it to be digested well. Scientists they discovered 200, maybe more. They're only able to replicate commercially 12 of them. And those are grown, some of them are grown on chametz. And some of them advertised, you'll see on the Similac, we have HMOs in there. It's a big splash, but it's not enough yet to be a chametz issue, because it's way, way bottled. But I'll give my word to I said, you will keep an eye on it. If it ever gets to the point where they can do this commercially for a cheap enough price, we'll have to revisit the formulas. There's one baby formula that has brown rice syrup. Brown rice syrup is something which, say, well, it's kidneyous. Yes, the rice is kidneyous, but the brown rice syrup is broken down by a beta amylase. Amylase is what? A's? An enzyme. Os is a sugar, all is an alcohol, and ACE is an enzyme. So the beta, this beta amylase is grown on barley. And again, we're machmer that anything grown on barley has dinner chametz. That you need this beta amylase to give the rice syrup a different DE. And must have hazard to guess what DE means? Not dairy equipment. Dextrose equivalent. The way that they measure sugars by dextrose equivalent, it can be DE19, DE25, and they order specific things for their flavor profile which they're looking for. So in that, it changes the DE. So you have, for example, anytime you break down a carbohydrate, you have an alpha amylase, which is like the muscle. It makes things from a solid to a liquid. It's like the muscle. You have a brick wall, take a sledgehammer and smash it apart. That's what an alpha amylase is doing. A beta amylase gets into the kishkis and actually changes the time. So the OU does not recommend. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but it's not on the list. It's a long list that we have, and it's not on it. Now, I just want to point out that the Chuvas Pnei Yeshua brought down in Pesach Yeshuv and Kuf Yodalid in your Yeridea talks about Sheichor, which is handed by Shmora Yayin. Shmora Yayin is Yayin Nesech, or Stam Yainam, but the Sheikh is mutter nonetheless. Why? It's a Maimed. So Pesach Yeshuv brings down from the Chuvas Pnei Yeshua that anything which is bought for tesisa, fermentation, is not called a maimed. So tesisa is not a maimed. So Yeshabadin Lachlek to say, well, why should we be concerned about this? Good, it changes it, but it's not a maimed. Doesn't look any different. The classic maimed is, of course, gevina. You took milk and you made it into gevina. It's megaber is chaimish and boina. You're building something. It's a maimed. It's a hamada. Literally, you're building something. Hamada. This is not hamada. You're fermenting it. Before it was not fermented. Now it's fermented. All right, that's not hamada. Oh, but I just want to read to you the rest of the story is in the.
Is it yeast fermenting?
It makes it rise. Wait a minute. Maybe that is, but they actually doing. You see it. You're seeing his teitzoy in the food. It rose. Now you have a bread before you even had a matzah. That's a maimed. I hear. Clarity should be a maimed. One second. So zok the Shari Tshuva Tov Mem Ches. The gam nirish ein doimel gvina. This is the Pei Yeshua originally. The hasam nikra issa be'en. Shacholav nikpa machmasin. The cholav gets solidified machmas the hamoda. Mashenken hocha she'ena isa nikah klal she'shmorim ein oisin rak she'shecher toises machmasan. Ve'ein chilik then toim to sisa v'achat to sisa healing in hatam. It's only to taste different. Avlin amara kemareu ois kein ata. Ulechein hela goin zokter she'hashecher muta bli sofik. Aber b'shuv kosav zokter tshuv pei Yeshua zokter she'tshuv according from the Pnei Yeshua shemotza b'ravon she'kosav the dvashech mitzvah b'shmori shecher hu maimed. It's taka yer maimed. And b'kosav zokter Pnei Yeshua the efshe she'ba'askenaz machmitzan hadvash b'shmorim and it changes the tam. V'chein v'lo time avidi havale maimed. Al ba'atzenu lefi daiti yodua she'ema simen oisam kiyim li is toises ve'en oisam oisam l'tayim klal. Just sant that even if it changes the tam, because he said before it changed the tam, but if the ikka teitzah is tesisa, is a fermentation, the fact that a tam changed, something which comes a secondary thing, that would not be a maimed. If we're doing it specifically for the tam, is yeah maimed. So therefore, the OU is machmer on that. We don't. There's one more thing. Some of the ensures, pediasures, glucerna, jevity have oat fibers in it. Not a problem for Pesach. You look in Tov Samach of Cotton Days and Mishnah Berurah, Speyer. Speyer are the growth, the straw itself. It's not the hull. It's not from the oat itself, and that's not machmer. As they state in Mishnah Berurah, B'Shem Magen Avram, not a problem. Okay, I just want to have a few minutes here, Rabbi there's not to get to Pesach. It's called alimentum and nutramigen. There are two baby formulas which have the casein, the protein in the baby formula, is broken down with a porcine enzyme. Porcine, you know, with a C, it comes from chaza, from davar acher, from pork. And it's not as clean as it sounds. They take casein, put it into a vat, and put in pieces of pork pancreas in there to break down, to hydrolyze the protein is the fancy word. It breaks down and pre-digested. For babies that have a CMO, cow's milk, CMA, cow's milk allergen, these babies can handle something which is not yet broken down. So they put this in to break down the formula. What's else? The mutter also.
Mutter, just like the lactose. Right?
But
they break down.
But then you're taking.
It's not masakin.
But you can say it's svara. It's not. But here the problem is it's not. There's two sugis. If it's bottle, if it's not bottle. So if you say it's bottle, then you're right. It's not going to be a maimed, whatever. It's not a sakin. And yeah, could be clever. But here it's different. Then you're taking something out. He actually changing the whole thing. You're breaking down then you're removing something. He actually pre-digesting it. You're changing the whole mitzias of this protein. You're making it into a digested. Not clear. But let's say it's not bottle. Rather, we discovered it is bottle. If you don't say chanam b'shar yisur, it's the percentage it in, and then it's done at a certain percentage. It's like whatever, call it 5%, and then it's put into another taruvus afterwards as the protein, and it's 5%, and then it's on the thing. It's about 18%. So let's say 5% of 18% without saying chanam b'shar yisurim, not a sugya for now, is going to be bottle. But let's say without that, can you say nois and tam of gam? So the Rabbi Belsky is mefak fake on it to say it could be a cancer nois and tam of gam on that. 4 weeks, it smells very. Leave it there for a week and it smells very bad. It smells very bad. So you're putting it in there, it becomes a very foul-smelling thing. Is that called nois and tam of gam or not? Rabbi Belsky had a few pikpukim on it. He didn't say it was also. He said, the baby needs it. The doctor said that you should give it to the baby. His 4 pikpukim on it. The first pikpuk was to be nois and tam of gam, and it has to be nifgam mitchil v'ad soif. If it's mashpiach, it'll soif nifgam. When you put it in, it had a good tam. And then afterwards, it became nifgam, is you don't say nois and tam of gam. Second thing is, he said, who said it b'chlal nois and tam of gam? It's maybe the reason why it smells there, it's there for 7 days. He said, haga ba'atzmecha, you put a shtickle basar into cholov, turle kula yoma b'chalva. It's going to smell bad after 24 hours. That's not nois and tam of gam. That's because the milk spoiled eventually. So the third time Rabbi Belsky says maybe it's achsheveh. Good, the taka wasn't food before, but you give it to the baby to eat. And the fourth time he said could be the fact that you fixed it up. Now a baby couldn't digest it, it's mashpiach bekamas joisen mashnifkan be'echus. The shitas haran, Neisen Tam of Gam, that Neisen Tam of Gam is out, you don't have enough from it. But Zot Iran, if you have enough from it, in a different way, the Hanoi is that you have more kamas, Taka took a hit on the echus, but it's more kamas now. Right? A very practical example. You have something which you have 5 pounds of something, you could sell it for $10 a piece. I add a Tyrubas in, I make it 9 pounds. It's nice and of gam. It's a bit of an off taste to it. So I drop the quality. I can only sell it now for $8. I'm mashpiach bekamas, it's mashnifka beichus. Zot Iran, that's not nice and of gam. 4 pikukim. The Maisa Mevar, the first 2 tainas, the Mevar the Metzias, is it's made first in one Tyrubis and then put into a second Tyrubis. So it's, the first 2 tainas are true, could be true, but it's not negeya, because I'm not dining on the first Tyrubis, I'm dining on the second Tyrubis when you put it in. Third time of Achsheveh is, again, it's Nachal Shabbos to go to Joshua. Can you say Achsheveh that when a baby eats it, it's called Achsheveh? Rabbi Shechter has, we have an Arichas on it, not Pashit. The 4th time, it's not going to be according to the Ran. The Ran, 100%, it's not going to be the Ran. Again, the Mechad Midah, the Ran's lost himself and others in the Rashba, is Yesh Misha Choychich Bazel HaChmer. It's a Chumrah. Interessant, just to Messiah with this, to tie all the pieces when we started off with together, the Ran and the Rashba. The Mechaber and Top Mem Zayin Paskin is nice time of Gam is Mutam Pesach. The Ramah argues. Ramah said it's also on Pesach. In Kuf Gimel, the Sugya of Nisan Town of Gam in Yeridea, the Mechaber brings down the Ran. Yesh Misha Chaychach Bazel HaChmer. And the Ramah is not clear. I can put him, but the Mechaber is Mefurish, he's not like the Ran. Zote Prima Godim, the Rashba, this shouldn't be Chinese. The Machlekes Rashba and the Ran is, when you add, they both have a kasha. Nice enough gam is the call it any real leger. Leger, you have to give it to a ger. The ger is sirach tadnena. You should eat it. It has to be real leger. If it's not real leger, it's us. It's mutter. Shaila is fair to Rashba and the Ran. If the zach itself is not real achil, we discussed before when we started, not real achilas kelev and achilas odom. Say this, not royal, it's any real leger. But as a taruvis, a mashal of an off taste is also called nice in town of gam. So why is that called? Why is that called any real leger? It's a mashal. So the Rashba answers because the etzem it's bottle. And my tam kirka tells me it's not bottle. The second that the tam is nice in town of gam is it goes back to the algemeine din of bittul, and it's a bittul dekadin. So the Ran is a different mahal. The Ran says because what's the vote when something becomes nisrach and gansin? It's not real achila. You're not nena from it. So there's 2 ways of not being nena. From the etzem oichel, the way not to be nena from it is it's in gansin nisrach. But when I'm eating a taruvis, it could be a mashu of an off taste, right? A pat she'eni ben yoimoy. Can we ever tell the difference in ben yoimoy, any ben yoimoy? Especially the place can say that even ben yoimoy is a mashu of a lefgam. Can we tell the difference? Efshak kfela, psagutek kfela. We don't know the difference. But the mashu is enough. Because I don't have enough, because the taruv is not going to be hana. So Zok the Prima Godim, that the Rashba, that the Mechaber holds like the Rashba, I'm sorry, the Mechaber holds like the Ran. So the Ran says, Neisnat Gam and Pesach is mutter. Why? No hana from it. No hana on Pesach, same as the rest of the year with Chametz. But the Rashba, that holds that the reason is out bittul, on Pesach, there's no bittul. That's why the Prima Godim in Kuf Bey in Kuf Gimel tells Su the Mechaber that holds by in Kuf Gimel that it's that holds like the Ran would hold by Pesach it's mutter. There are more that holds like the Rashba, therefore holds in Pesach that it's also.
There's no bittul.
What does Tyson say? No?
I don't know.
Okay, everybody ask for listening. Maybe Aleph, any. Okay, so the Sikum is as medicines without not chewables, take it and don't ask any shilas. Medicines that are chewables or that do have a liquid, you have to know in there, is it just we went through nutritionals, all the shtickle, any chametz that we bottle. But if the chametz would not be bottled, very not poshut. We wouldn't allow it, especially if there's other things you can use. So a medicine which is nutritional, a medicine which is chewable, or medicine which is a liquid with a flavor, then you have to ask a rav. It's specific to each medicine what the ailment is. The art start in the hakol, that's in between It's on an individual basis. In regard to nutritionals, the OU has a list, both in the Jewish Action, both in the big arichos, all of the things which we allow for Pesach. It's also on the website, all the things which are allowed for Pesach that we go through carefully, each one of them, with Diyun, which nutritionals are mutter on Pesach.
What about that result that says if you have any chametz over Pesach, then you're not muftach that you're not going to have a chet or something. So
Okay.
these things, these flowers.
But, wait a minute, but, in Tokmem Zayin state that there's bittul before Pesach. None of these are made on Pesach.
And that counts. That helps.
It's bottle. I'm saying bittle's not a new thing. I'm saying bittle's like a real thing. It's actually a real thing. Bittle works. You have to. You can clear, of course. What if you add more to the? If you add more, you take away the bittle. It's just chayes v'neya. But until that, Moshe David, it's a blind bottle. It's a bottle of gatzin. Any questions?
By the non-chewable medications, every shayach or matzah, all those that have a coating on it, which is problematic. Flavored coating.
Yeah. So a coating is taka. What do you say, Abiel?
Even Advil, the red Advil.
Right, you have gel caps, you have the red Advils. I hear those. I'm not aware of the. I was referring to things that are not red achil and gansin. With regard to, I know that Lamashal for Tisha. I went to Stein Fisher about Tisha B'av, taking a medicine. He said that Rav Yor, famous Rav Yor, that it's a Mutan Yom Kippur also, but then again, that's dafka if it's not a flavor. So if this counts, I'm not sure if the coating counts as a flavor or not. If it's saying that's I guess. Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's sugar, but maybe I guess maybe there's a shayla chametz in there. I don't think it's a shayla chametz, but I hear. I guess that would be the if it makes it not real achil. If it makes it not nifsal me'achilas kelev, then I guess would that be the same shayla as that be for nutrition for anything else, which is real achila.
What about the vitamins?
They say a story with Rav Henkin, with your Moshe, about a mikveh erev yontiv, and Rav Henkin asked the Moshe to wash the soap. It could be chametz the soap, and the Moshe says nifsal me'achila. It's not just a Pesach shayla. The whole year round, the goyin says sich kishtia, right? The machman the goyin. Elamai, nifsal me'achila, nifsal me'achilas kelev. So Moshe told Rav Henkin it's nifsal me'achilas kelev. So Rav Henkin said be'inai re'isi, the dogs and sluts would eat the soap. Moshe wasn't a story. He said, because the dogs and sluts were hungry. That's why they ate it. But it's nifsal me'achila. Oh, vitamins is a separate sugi. That wasn't our topic. Vitamins is really a shayla. It's really onacha Shabbos called the Joshua. A vitamin is myochobrium or it's a medicine. If the doctor tells you to take the vitamin, it's a bit of a medicine. And it's negay also because you can't take it Shabbos, then it's a medicine. But if it's myochobrium, if you stop take it because you think you should take it, myochobrium, then it would be an issue with Pesach. But no gufa. The Raidosky held that if it's a doctor tells you to take it for a medicine, then it's the same thing. Just take it without any shadows.
They're saying that by this they don't have oxygen. I just don't know. What's the vitamin that make a difference?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's chewable, but not chewable. Yeah, it's not chewable. I still got to do it. Those before said it is. And later on, he was telling me it's like a lot of to say that. Remember that? Yeah. I had to think it was someone.
Jerry,
I figured,
Yeah.
you ever cabbage? Fine over there.